See what pops up here. There we go. We're live. Okay.
Let me just. Finally.
I know.
Week 1.
So let's get this here. Alrighty. Let some people pop in here quick. So let's get it. So I just quoted it and put it out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it out to you real quick.
We got a lot of action. I'm not gonna lie, we have.
I know.
Much action.
It kind of got away from me a little bit, but I mean, I'm just excited. Football's back. Everyone's hyped. This should be a great week. Honestly, I feel good about my spot. So sometimes you get a little bit carried away, but it happens.
Yeah, dude. When I was on my third one, then you mentioned you had another one. I'm like, oh shit! All right, we're gonna get another one. We're gonna get another one quick.
I mean, you found some good spots too. I'm definitely gonna have to tail both those. We'll talk about it more, obviously, when we get into that. But
Crispy's in the building here already. He's ready to roll. Ready to roll right away.
I appreciate you tuning in, everyone that's here. Should be a blast.
We'll give it a quick 45 seconds. Give them 2 minutes to pop on. If they miss out, always can go through and check the ticker and stuff. I'll make sure we put all the plays on that.
Oh, yeah. And the VOD will be on your channel, right?
Yep, it'll be on the channel, and it'll be over here. I can download it and send it to you, too, if you want to put it on your YouTube channel as well. I'll upload it over there. Yeah. But we will get this baby started. We're in about 2 minutes in. About 20-ish people on here at the moment. It is a weird time. It's 2 o'clock, but I think we'll get a decent amount of people in here. They'll like to talk props with us. What's up, Ben? How we doing, man? This guy actually, he's the only. He used to be a VIP of mine, and he's the guy who hit the Oregon State. I don't know if you saw this. It was on Barstool or it was on a bunch of other stuff. He hit the Oregon State to win the Pac-12. Basketball championship, and he put like $50 on it, and he won a crap ton. I'm like, he's a good dude. I remember him hitting that. That was crazy.
It's dope.
Let's bankrupt the book. Hell yeah. Let's do it. It's gonna be fun. We're very much looking forward to it. We posted this about last week, so since then it's been just all full steam ahead. What we'll do here is we have I think we have 8. Is it 8 bets? I have 4. I know you have 5, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have 9 bets here. 9 bets for you guys that we'll be riding with. And then in between, probably every 2 or 3, I'll check in on the questions here. If you guys have any questions for DFS, for props, once we get our bets done, we will get to our favorite DFS spots, as well as our degenerate touchdown parlay that we decided to throw together. Our favorite 2 touchdown guys tonight. So, all right, I guess without further ado, I will let you take it away, Mr. Monotone. You wanted to drop this one first because this is one I don't even think you've dropped it on Twitter yet.
Yeah, no, this is one that is being seen first right now, and it's actually, there'll be an article coming out later if you want to read it, if you don't like the audio, but it's Terry McLaurin over 68.5 receiving yards at -105. This is widely available on almost every book, and I would play it up to around 73.5. So one of the biggest things that really kind of got my attention about this one is when you look through his stats from last year, because I had a tough decision to make. I guess, do you go receptions at 5.5 or receiving yards? And really what it brought me to is last year, when you look at it, Terry had a lot of games where he had about 7 catches, but only got about 40 or 50 yards. And that's just because the offense was really pathetic last year. I mean, they were running with Alex Smith, they were running with Taylor Henneke in the playoffs, Allen, Dwayne Haskins in the beginning of the year. It was bad, and they couldn't push the ball down the field. So one of the things we're going to see this year is Terry McLaurin's ADOT, which is average depth of target, is going to increase a lot. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a guy that's not afraid to throw the ball down the field. He really isn't. That's the one thing, if you know anything about this guy, besides the beard, of course, it's that he loves to throw the ball down the field. And I really do think we're going to see that, like really surprise people this year. I think we're going to see a lot more 4 catches for 83 yards than 5 catches for 70 yards or for 50 yards. I think we're going to see them spread the ball down the field a lot more this year. And I that was really the biggest thing that stuck out to me. I love it, and I want to hear your thoughts.
I love Terry McLaurin. I love him. I drafted him in 2 of my two of my 3 leagues that I have him in. So I'd love to see you on this. I might he'd be definitely in my starting receiver slot in those leagues. I really like this too with the news of Curtis Samuel coming out that he's not playing. So we might see those little those bubble passes that Curtis Samuel got in Carolina. Those could go to Terry McLaurin. Yes, yes, it would be a short pass, but I mean he's fast enough and he's got enough speed that I think that he'll be able to get those yak yards that we're really looking for when you're going for a receiving yard prop like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I'm glad you mentioned yak because that's one of the things looking at this. The Chargers, if you guys didn't know, are top 5 in zone defense played. So they play a lot of zone defense. And if you look at the stats, Terry McLaurin is top 5 in the league in yards after carry going against zone defenses. So a lot of receivers really struggle when you do switch up to the zone defense reads. But Terry McLaurin has one of the least noticeable drop-offs against zone defense out of any receivers in the league. He loves breaking tackles, to getting those quick screen passes off to the side and really making a lot with it. And a lot of people also get really scared with the Chargers defense. There are names kind of that scare people: Joey Bosa, Derwin James. These are good players. But over the last couple of years, you got to remember they have lost a lot of guys, whether it's Casey Hayward or Melvin Ingram. So Terry McLaurin's mostly going to be matched up with Michael Davis, who most of you guys probably haven't even heard of. He's like a solid quarterback. But I mean, last year he allowed 1.22 yards per route run against him, along with a target on 16% of routes run. So for every route run, he allowed 16. Yeah, you know what I mean. Fuck it. The point is, it's a good matchup. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a great matchup. People get scared by the big names with the Chargers, but it's a great matchup, and I love it. I really think this is good. And I see someone in the chat also said they like over 5.5 receptions, and I do too, man. It was a tough decision to see which way I was going to go, but I like them both. I think he's gonna go well over this. I think 100 yards is not out the question this week.
Yeah, no, I love to hear that being a fantasy owner of his, but definitely QB upgrade, target share is going to be just as big, and we get to push the ball a little bit more down the field. Pretty much everything you could ask for in this matchup for you on this one. I will be tailing this one as well from you. So we're going to go in order of our unit size here. So we're actually going to pop you into the same game. You have another play in the same game. This looks like it's your smallest one. I promise, guys, I do have plays. We're just going to let Monotone drop his top, the newest one and his in the smallest unit one here. But we might as well stay in the same game when we're already out there. So I will drop this one on here for your second play of the day.
Yeah, so it's Keenan Allen over 5.5 catches at -130. This is on Caesar Sportsbook. I think it's a little bit more juiced up now, but that's the reason I'm playing it for only 0.75 rather than a full unit. Got to mitigate the juice a little bit. But Keenan Allen destroyed this number last year. He saw 10-plus targets from Justin Herbert, 10 out of 12 games. That's kind of crazy. He's the clear number one. Mike Williams is a guy that's always in and out of injury. Even when he has performed at his peak, it's never been quite what we kind of hoped for out of college. Unfortunately, I was a big fan of him at college, I believe. But, it happens. But Keenan Allen is the clear number one. Like the target share, he is one of the highest in the league with Justin Herbert. And 5.5 is just a really low number. I think something the books are kind of scared of is the Washington defense. As a big Washington fan myself, I also understand that the defense is going to be good this year, but coverage isn't their specialty. It's going to be that line with Chase Young and Montez Sweat that really scares people away. But even then, the secondary is pretty good. I'll admit that. But Keenan Allen is just going to be force-fed the ball this week, and especially with Austin Eckler looking like he possibly is going to miss the game, that means we're going to see a lot more short yardage receptions from their most talented player. They're going to try to get him the ball, and in short yardage situations, let him get these yards after the catch. They really want to force feed him the ball, especially when Eckler, who's their second best offensive player beyond Allen, might be out or might be severely limited.
No, that was exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say with Eckler being limited, and I mean, I have the Washington defense in one of my leagues, and they just blitz, right? They blitz a lot. They get a lot of pressure on them, and with Herbert, he is able to move, right? He has enough legs to get out of the pocket, escape the pressure. And I definitely see, and you see this with Rodgers. As a Packer fan, I see this with Rodgers all the time. Your most confident receiver that you're with finds a way to get open in those pressure spots, right? When you see Rodgers running all the way to the other side. Adams is tailing him. He knows exactly where he needs to be. Same thing's going to be here. Keenan Allen is another level than every single other option they even have. So I definitely see this. I honestly could see this hitting damn near in the first half. I could see that. That would be my call here. I don't know if that's a bet. I don't know if I can go on FanDuel and bet, hey, 6 catches in the first half for Keenan Allen. But if it was, I definitely would, because this is definitely a smash spot for sure. And this line does not make sense to me either. So you posted this a couple days ago. I did jump on it immediately, and I will be tailing you on this one.
I love to hear it. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's much more you even have to say. It's clear if you watch any of these Chargers games, Herbert loves Allen. It's really that simple. He is the clear number one on that team, and that's really all we can ask for. A number like 5.5, we're going to laugh at that in a couple of weeks when it's 7.5, 8.5. You know,
easy 7.5. Hell yeah. Let me pop in over here. TGB in the building.
Welcome. Appreciate
TGB
that.
Over here. I take a line, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I 100% agree with you, Ben, on that one. 100% agree with you. All right. Yes, I do have plays today. I promise, guys. And here they go. Here we go. There's our first one of the day for your boy. I am going over to San Francisco to Deebo Samuel. We're having him face the Lions this week. Probably the best matchup you could actually ask for. I bet you. I don't even know if the Lions will get more than 2 wins this season. But yeah, Deebo Samuel, I think, is going to be that lost piece, right? And we saw everybody is on that Brandon Ayuk hype train. But honestly, if Deebo didn't get hurt, I don't think we would be talking about him as much, right? In his last 4 games that he played, full games that he played, he had 66 yards, 65 yards, a 133 spot, and a 73 yard game. I do know that we obviously had Kittle get hurt and Jimmy G get hurt in there too. But 2 of those games that he cleared, one of them was the 65 and the other one was the 133, was with a full strength roster with Kittle in there as well. I went back into their old games. Jimmy G and Samuel have been a part of 18 games together. And obviously that's through a rookie season where he did struggle in his first 7 games there. But he averaged 52 yards per game in those. So that's an average, and that's an average of plenty over what we need here. I like the number more than the catches here, just because the Lions did lead the NFL in most 20-yard passes given up last year with 66. So Deebo Samuel, obviously everybody knows this man is fast. He has great yards after the catch. One of my favorite things that I read about him was he worked a lot with Wes Welker over there in San Francisco. And everybody knows Wes Welker going across that middle and just breaking those long touchdowns. And that's all we need. All we need is pretty much one of those deep balls, one of those quick slants to get us there. When I did pop over onto Next Gen Stats, this is a hard one for me to explain, but it said Samuel has the highest expected yak difference from the actual expected yak to the true outcome, which is over 4.4 yards that he had difference than what it was expected. So this dude's fast. All we need is for him to rip 2 of these long ones, right? 66 20-yard passes is absolutely unbelievable. This Lions defense is terrible, and I really, really like the spot to really destroy the hype train of this Brandon Ayuk that's killing this line. I think this line should easily be 55, and I will hammer this until they move it up. And once Vegas realizes how much money I'm taking from them, they're going to move it, because this just seems like a smash spot for me. What do you think there, Monotone, for this one?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten in multiple Twitter, Discord arguments about Brandon Ayuk specifically because he's a guy that people just act like he is the number 1 wide receiver there, undoubtedly. But he's competing with arguably the best tight end in the league in Kittle, who's coming back from injury, so he might be a little slow to start, and Brandon Ayuk, who actually has been the number 1 receiver in that offense before. And you obviously laid out a bunch of good stats, but another one I saw last year too was that the Lions were top of the league for most of the season in broken tackles. Like they were not tackling well at all, as you can probably see by just one quick look at the roster. I don't know if you can even name. I can't really name that many defensive players ever since they traded Diggs away to the Seahawks. I don't really even know who's over there at this point. I mean, it's a very, very weak linebacker core, very weak cornerback core, and I really don't think they're going to be able to bring him down. I really think this could be a one catch kind of play, like one catch for 46 yards to start out the game. I would not be shocked at all, ends up getting in the end zone there too. He's just a dominant athlete, and he is someone that has a good chemistry with Jimmy G. I'm not worried about this at all. I love Debo.
I love him too. It looks like Taylor posted on here 44.5. Damn, we will be taking. I will find DK because I grabbed this one on I believe on FanDuel 2 days ago. That's when I found this one there. Yeah, we got that. What's up, Birdman? Heading to work. I appreciate you stopping in for your little for the beginning of it. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully we can get you some winners here for sure. So there is my first play of the day. We are on to Monotone number 3 already. We're on number 3 play already for you. And we are going to the hype train that is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, so I wish we could talk about this a little bit more, but unfortunately, this line has been killed into the ground since I tweeted this out. Obviously, I'm not saying I own any kind of player or anything like that, but I put this out a couple days ago at 39, and it's around 45 on most sports books at this point. So while I would still play it there for about half of a unit, you got to be a little bit careful. Unfortunately, if you didn't catch it on Twitter the first day, you're not going to be able to get this super low line. But this is just such an awesome matchup for Jalen Hurts. A lot of people have been debating whether he's going to actually be good or not, whether he's going to step up to the table this year. But luckily for us with this bet, it really doesn't matter if he steps up to the table or not. We already know he's a great rusher. Last year in the 3 games that he started and played to completion, he had 69 yards versus Dallas, 63 yards versus Arizona, and 106 yards versus that New Orleans defense last year. The Falcons are probably not going to be anywhere near as good as any of those defenses we listed. I think it's probably going to be one of the worst in the league, actually. And I think Hurts is going to run all over them. I think he's going to pass all over them too. But like I said, let's say Hurts is bad. Who cares? He's going to run. We saw that. We know he's going to run. That is his – if his first read isn't there, because he really did struggle on second reads a lot last year when he had to look past his number 1 wide receiver, he really just turned to run. And I think that could happen a lot again this game. So – I love Hurts rushing yards. I'd probably play it up to 50. That's the highest I would play it for week 1, but that's where it ended last season. Just to give you some information, Vegas had this at 50 last season, and now he's had a whole offseason to have the playbook tailored for him, directly for him, not for Joe Flacco or whoever else. The playbook has been fully tailored for him this year, and I think he's going to perform. And I think this is just a joke number. I still think anything under 50 is pretty much a joke number. So I love Hurts this week.
Yeah, the reason why I like this one even more on that, just on top of all the numbers you gave, is it does not matter if Philly is winning for him to get this. For a lot of these passing ones, you really need a positive game script for yourself on these props. But Jalen Hurts has designed run plays for him. Yeah. And like you said, his second read isn't always there. Like if it's not an immediate hitch route maybe to Goddard or Ertz, he's probably tucking. He's tucking and running. And for you, I think, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets close to 15 attempts. I really wouldn't be surprised on that. And especially in this, I think that he's going to be passing a lot. But like you said, second option's not really there. Take it, run it, get some yards, and play another down.
Yeah, I think this one is almost so like common sense. The handicap is so easy on this one. Like 39.5 was a ridiculous number. I still think whatever's on the board right now should be good. When you think about it too, they're never going to, like you said before, going to be in a game script that really affects this because they're 3-point underdogs. The only way I could possibly see Hurts stop running, and this is even a maybe, is if they're up by like 14 points. But do we really think the Eagles are going to be up by 14 points over anyone this year? I'm not sold yet, but we'll see. Maybe. But I love this one. So
yeah, maybe this is right from Michael V saying there's can't miss ones. Maybe. I think you found both of them in Allen and this one. I think both of those are can't miss props that should get hammered. And obviously this one moved a ton. I saw his punt passing rushing one got destroyed too. And like I said, I'll be playing him in a ton of DFS, which we will be talking about in a little bit here. But I love that spot. I missed the boat on the first one, but that's how important it is, guys. Make sure you go follow Monotone and myself on Twitter when we drop these. Have those notifications on. it's as important as ever right now during football season when these lines move as fast as they do. So make sure you guys do that and cash in with us on those, on the number that we're getting as well. Now I'm up here. We're going to a quarterback, and we are going to Baker Mayfield, man. Baker Mayfield, I found 257 on FanDuel, 257.5. I'll be laying 1.5 units on this play. I love this spot. I think what we talked about with game script, this is literally probably the perfect game script you could have with the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs know they're not dumb. They have to stop the run. They have to stop the run. They were gashed last year. Teams are trying to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, and I think that they do that. I think that they stack up Chubb, and make sure that Hunt doesn't get away from them. But the issue with Baker has always been the volume of passes that he throws. He only averaged 222 passing yards per game last season. Yes, I understand. If you're looking at the full season numbers, I get it. This is probably not your favorite line. But if you take out the 6 games that Baker threw less than 25 times, he attempted less than 25 passes in 6 games last year. There's no way that the Chiefs or that the Browns win this game if Baker throws under 25 times. There's absolutely no chance. Patrick Mahomes is not going to let that happen. If you take away those 6, he averaged 261 last year. The Chiefs ranked 9th last year in 20-yard plus passes given up on defense. Obviously, we have good receivers. I've been hearing about Donovan Peoples-Jones even coming through, that he's playing better. I definitely think that that's a good spot for him too, to come through on those. With the Chiefs offense, I would last year they gave up 35 pass attempts against them per season, with 22 of those being completed average last year, because most teams are behind, right? You're going to be behind to the Chiefs. They start fast, they keep the pedal down, and they don't care. They're just going to run it up till they're up like 28, and then they'll pull them. But in the games that Baker had 21 plus completions last year, he hit this in 6 of 9. And I really just see this spot being such negative game script for them that they're going to have to abandon that run. And we're going to see Baker if he gets 40-plus pass attempts in this, he's clearing 300. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The amount of hype on this Browns team needing to come out here and perform, I definitely see this as a Baker Mayfield smash spot. 257, I think, is just too low. And like I said, he hit in 6 of 9 when he actually completed 21 passes. And I think we're going to see this ball game turn into almost like the ball game last night, where the Browns are going to have to keep up with these guys, because the Chiefs are second to none on the offensive side.
Yeah, and even beyond that too, a lot of people that they get lost in looking at the season-long stats, kind of like you mentioned. Another thing we got to remember too is the Chiefs played like 2 or 3 games last year where there was like severe wind. I don't know if anyone remembers those, but those games were like the most boring games in the world. They were super low scoring, and it happened to the Browns multiple times. I'm not sure why. I think they were mostly home games, but there were 2 or 3 games where, almost nothing could happen. It was like ridiculous wind. I'm not even sure why you're even still playing, and it's just both teams running the ball back and forth all game. And that's not what's going to happen here. There's no severe wind advisory or anything like that. And like you mentioned before, you got to throw against the Chiefs. You're going to try to establish that run. It'll be their game plan going into it, but the Chiefs know that too. The Chiefs know that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are very talented running backs, and they're going to be fully prepared to try to eliminate them from this game. Baker Mayfield historically is a super efficient quarterback. When he gets those, completions in, he hits these numbers, and I think he's going to have to, like you said before. It doesn't even really matter the talent around him. He's a good passer. He'll get it in there. I'm not too worried about the pass catchers. I think Baker's got it. I think this is pretty easy.
Yeah, like I said, this is like one of those spots where I looked at him like, this is probably like 30 yards too low. I've been seeing even today, I was seeing around 261. I would still play it at that. But yeah, this line is just too low. Obviously it's first week, but everybody has been hyping this Browns team. Baker knows this. He has to come out and show out. And that's what I think is going to happen. That's why I feel like we're going to see a Baker Mayfield show on that field this weekend here. Let's get to your next one.
Also, real quick before, one of the comments said that he took Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns. I like that one. And then that also correlates really well with this Baker prop too. If you think Mahomes is going to pass all over the Browns, which I mean, I think he can pass all over anyone in the league, to be honest.
Sure.
Then you know that Baker's going to have to be throwing it right back on the other side, just like we saw last night. You know, Tampa has a great defense, but if Dallas is going to keep throwing the ball, then Tampa's got to do it too. You know, sometimes you can't play the way you want to. And I like both of those props actually. So
yeah, that's a good look. Thank you for dropping that on us here, Mike. That's a bang spot right there. We are going to go back to, I think this is our first running back play of the day here for you. This is going to be Monotone's first running back one. I think I have a few ones coming up here shortly, but let's get it on over to you in Cincinnati.
Yeah, so we're going with a guy that I'm going to be talking about a little bit more later too in the DFS portion. Someone that I really like this week is Joe Mixon, and more specifically, obviously, over 15.5 rushing attempts. So Mixon's coming into the season with a lot on his shoulders. If you haven't been paying attention to what's been coming out of camp, everything is, I mean, even beyond that, let's ignore coach speak for a second. This team lost Giovanni Bernard in the offseason, who was their second pass-catching back and another guy that spent a lot of time, on that field playing and taking valuable carries and catches away from Mixon, but he's gone. And the coach said, as soon as that happened, we want, Mixon, we don't want him coming off the field. That's the quote everyone's been running with, and it shows. They didn't bring any serious contenders in. Latavius Murray was available. Le'Veon Bell was available. They didn't bring in any of these guys. They trust Mixon. And even beyond that, even if you think, well, I've seen Mixon, he's not that great in the past. Mixon was healthy for 6 games last year, and he hit this in every single one. Every single one. This is an opening line, like for a number, like in an improved situation, like from last year. We're in an even better situation from last year. And he hit this every game last year. I mean, it's kind of hard to overlook that fact, like I saved it a little bit, but he hit this every game last year. And judging by the fact that it seems the coaches really don't want to take him off the field, I really like this. I really think he's going to get there pretty easily. And I love Mixon this week. He has a good matchup against the Vikings. The Vikings have a pretty solid defense, but it's definitely not the Vikings defense of the past. I would say it's more a middle of the pack defense. Nothing that would scare me away from playing this prop at all. So I'm feeling really good about Mixon this week.
I love it. I love Mixon here too. I saw your line got juiced up again. It got a lot of love on Twitter as well. I love that game script in general. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. I have some action in that game coming up here shortly as well. I just think that's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be one of those underrated games that gets looked past when you have games like Tennessee and Arizona, and you got Falcons and Jalen Hurts running on them and stuff like that. Like, this game is going to get kind of swept under the radar, and I think it's going to be one of the better games of the week for sure.
Yeah, and kind of like you said too, just real quick, like, it's a 3-point spread. It's not like the Vikings are going to like dunk on the Bengals. It's not like they're going to dominate them and they're going to be forced to not run. This is going to be a close game. There's a lot of sharp money actually on the Bengals in this game too. A lot of people that think that Burrow can get a nice win to start out the year. And I think if they do, and if those predictions are correct, Mixon's going to have to be a big part of it. He's their running back one and someone they put a lot of confidence in. And I think it's going to show week one. You got to protect Burrow. Burrow's coming off a really serious injury. That's your number one draft pick. That's the future of your franchise. You don't want to let him go out there and throw 40 passes week one. You want to run the ball. You want to limit his opportunities to get hurt and still give it to a running back that you have a lot of trust in. So I'm feeling really good about this.
That was exactly what I was going to say. You got Joe Burrow coming off that injury. You know that they're going to feed this man. He's going to get that ball. I wouldn't even be surprised if he hits his receiving prop too. They're going to feed this man. This guy's going to get it, and he's going to just go all out on these guys, and I love it. I love this spot. Good look for sure. So we're going from the 1 first-round pick in Joe Burrow to another first-round pick's running back. I am going with James Robinson this week. I love this guy. I had him in fantasy leagues last year. He was a saving grace for anybody who decided to miss out on drafting a running back early in fantasy leagues. This guy was probably in more fantasy winning championships than most. He was a killer last year coming out of he came out of Illinois, I believe. But I am on his rushing and receiving over 91.5. I'm on it for 1.5 units here. And he's always an option in a passing game. When I'm taking a rushing receiving spot for running back, You got to be able to give me at least 3 or 4 catches, and I think that we get that easily here for James Robinson. His reception line is juiced over 2.5, and his carries are juiced over 16. And so when I was going into – I love going into like last year's numbers when you go off of Vegas, because obviously Vegas has big buildings, so obviously they've been doing pretty well for themselves, so they're usually not too far off on these lines, right? So if we're going off that, we're estimating 20 touches. If Vegas estimates him with 20 touches, he hit this line all 6 times he did it last year. 6 for 6. He had 21 total touches for 107, 26 for 137. One game he didn't even catch a pass and hit this with 25 carries for 99 yards rushing. This guy can hit it in both sides. He had an 80-yard receiving game last year as well. Now you're going against Houston, who lost J.J. Watt. Obviously, big news there. And the Texans give up the most rushing yards and the 3rd most touchdowns to running backs last season. They average 160 yards per game given up on the ground. If you go to James Robinson's numbers last year, he was averaging 88.3 total yards. But with the numbers I gave you guys before, when he gets his touches, same thing as Baker Mayfield. When he gets that volume, he hits these numbers. He gets his numbers. He's good enough to get them. And I just love the fact that we're going to see him touch the ball a ton with a new quarterback. Trevor Lawrence getting out there too. It's going to be a fun team to watch. And obviously this line, I wouldn't like it if ETN was in, but unfortunately he had the season-ending injury. And I think that this line is very, very, very low for what I expected it to be. I was expecting around 98 to 100. So I will take the value on this and take this into a smash spot. These are more 1.5 unit plays than I usually take. But it's just these numbers don't lie. And I think that this guy is going to be all over the place on Sunday and give us a good showing for us.
Yeah, I mean, Houston is actively trading away starters, right? They've made 2 trades for players that were on their starting defense in the last week. Like, they obviously don't care. Like, this Houston Texans team, every indication coming out of camp is that this is just going to be like a terrible team, you know, without Deshaun Watson there. I mean, I have respect for Tyrod Taylor. I like Tyrod Taylor, but he's a game manager and there's only so much he can do. And I really think Jacksonville is just going to prove that. Like last year, they were already the worst rushing defense in the league, kind of like you mentioned. And what makes you think they're going to be any better this year? They've actively gotten worse on defense since last year. I mean, Robinson is a guy that I was a little worried about when they drafted ETN. You know, I thought, what, you already got someone there that's doing the job just fine. You know, ETN goes down and suddenly all that opportunity is right there for Robinson. You know, I love that. I love that also both the carries and receiving that you noticed that they were both juiced up, because that shows the books are a little bit nervous. You know, they want you to take that under with the plus money. But no, they clearly are a little bit worried about Robinson. This just feels too low. I mean, who's surprised if he runs 25 times for 123 yards tomorrow? Like, he doesn't even have to catch a pass on the way. You know, I think he's going to destroy a really bad secondary and prove that you guys shouldn't have drafted ETN. You know, I'm here and I'm going to keep crushing it. So, yeah, exactly. I believe in Robinson for sure.
Exactly. You come out, you're competitive. You are going to show them why you are the starter. You're the guy. James Robinson is a smash spot for me this week, and I think that, like I said, his numbers are way too low. Maybe Jacksonville made a mistake, right? Made a mistake in drafting ECN, and I think that he comes out here and just puts it on this terrible, terrible Texans team here. But yeah, we're looking at. Oh, you guys got a better line on FanDuel, definitely. I was on DraftKings for this one.
FanDuel's been so bad, man, with these numbers. That's why they're not dropping them. I haven't even checked FanDuel in the last couple of days, and I've been waking up at 8:00 every morning and just going through these lines for hours, and I've not seen a single FanDuel. You know, I'm glad they have the better line though. I appreciate you sharing, but they're struggling right now. I don't know what they're doing over there.
Yeah, dude, I didn't get many FanDuel lines. I didn't even see that. I didn't see the Vikings. I didn't see Carolina till this morning. It's just been – I haven't even looked, honestly, on FanDuel much besides that one Baker play. They had that one up early. I'm guessing just because it's a huge game and they probably are throwing a crap ton of money on those same game parlays with people and letting them get the degen out of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird. It was almost like FanDuel wanted you to bet on the Thursday night game so bad that they just didn't give you any other options. Like there were very few options, but I don't want to make this the FanDuel hate party or anything like that. I was pretty. I don't know. I was very surprised. I don't think it's a great business decision, I guess, to let DraftKings take all. I mean, DraftKings is killing it right now. Every bet I see is on DraftKings. People aren't really caring. I have more bets on Caesars Sportsbook, which is William Hill, than I do on FanDuel right now. So maybe that'll change, but they got to step it up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna pop to. I think we each have one play left, and then we'll get to our DFS spots. We are rolling back into, it must be your favorite game, this Philly game, huh? Must be your favorite game of the week.
It's hard not to like it. It should be a close game. That's what I want in these kind of games. It's a good game script. And yeah, we're here. The rookie sensation, Kyle Pitts, over 39.5 receiving yards. So to give you a little bit of context, I'm not like the Kyle Pitts like truther, that's been there since day one. I was pretty anti Kyle Pitts in terms of when Julio was still there. I didn't think his role was going to be that huge in this team, on this team. But they made it so clear. I mean, through every single move that they've done, that they are drafting Kyle Pitts to be like the 1A or the 1B to Calvin Ridley. He projects so well just as a wide receiver alone. I saw some crazy stuff on PFF that like if you took out everything he does as a tight end and just graded him as a wide receiver, he's in the 97th percentile just as a wide receiver. This is a giant man, it's insane. So this is his first career game, so that's obviously why the line's a little bit low, but I really wouldn't be surprised if this is the lowest we see it all year. I mean, last season Matt Ryan threw the ball a lot. He threw the ball 30 plus times in 16 out of 16 games. So every single game last year, he threw the ball 30 times. And all he's really competing with is Calvin Ridley. Let's say Calvin Ridley has a 16 catch monster game, the absolute maximum performance he could. That still leaves like at least like 15 opportunities up for grabs for the rest of the team. And it's really hard for me to think Kyle Pitts doesn't get at least 3 of those. And with just how explosive this guy has been in college, I mean, I think this takes 2 catches. A couple people ask me why not receptions, because I normally do like those receptions plays. But I think Kyle Pitts can break this in 1 to 2 plays. He's a dominant athlete. He's not the traditional tight end that you normally see rack up those 4 catches for 40 yards. He's not that guy. And if we want to look at the stats of someone like that, we have it with Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst was their tight end last year, and he started almost every game, and he hit this in 8 of 16 games. And I mean, Hayden Hurst is nothing special. He's a fine tight end. He blocks. He does everything pretty well. But if he did this in 8 of 16 games last year with Julio Jones on that same team, do we really think that Kyle Pitts is gonna struggle without Julio Jones there now? I don't know. I don't think that Kyle Pitts is the second coming of Jesus or anything like that, but I think this is just way too good of a number to let fly week 1, and I don't think we're going to see it this low again this year.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things that when you talk to other cappers, other guys that know their stuff, it's playing the value, right? We might lose plays, but it's finding that value in those plays that really sets you apart on those close losses, close wins. Stuff like that. I'm seeing Pitts over 40 yards now on a lot of books here. So you got a great line. Obviously, you got the great line, but it's value, right? You've seen what he can do. Now you're getting honestly, Matt Ryan is probably a top 10 quarterback. I don't care what people say. That dude finds a way to get yards. That dude finds a way with the worst offensive line pass blocking I've ever seen in my life. That man takes so many hits and finds a way to get the job done. And I think that if this is a negative game script, which it easily could be, I would definitely lean the Eagles if I'm taking a money line here. I could see Kyle Pitts doing exactly what I was talking about with Deebo Samuel. He is an athlete. He's able to break tackles. He's a big-ass dude. And he single-handedly got Kyle Trask damn near into the Heisman race by himself. By himself, he almost got Heisman trophy for Kyle Trask last year. That is absolutely absurd. And yes, maybe he's a tight end, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he has less routes than a receiver, but the dude's drafted in first round, got all the hype. They're going to have packages specifically designed to get this man the ball, and I don't think it takes more than 1 or 2 catches either. I think this guy breaks one. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the end zone either.
Yeah. I considered that. The line was super low. That was 130. I was like, if you gave me a 200, I would be there. But also, if the books are that confident that, I mean, he's like the 3rd guy on the list to get a touchdown. It's kind of weird that they lay such a low number. You'd think he'd be involved if you think he's going to get a touchdown. So little bit of info right there.
Yeah, I saw his 3.5 receptions was juiced to the over. And yeah, I don't see this guy as a sub 10 catch or yards per catch there at all.
It was minus 157 earlier was the best number I saw. I saw Vaughn. I don't know if you know.
Yep. The money.
Capper. Yeah. And he put that one out, and I obviously like the receptions just because I like the receiving yards. But I mean, like, once again, I wouldn't be shocked. 1 catch for 45 yards. We've said it a lot. We don't need to say it for you guys anymore. But this guy is an athletic anomaly. He is special. That is undoubtable. He's special, and I think we're just here to take advantage of it week 1. When other people are a little bit scared, sometimes you got to play the rookie receiver week 1. We'll see.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. Now we're rolling into my biggest play of the week here. And he'll be all over my DFS stuff too. This guy is in a smash spot for me. I absolutely love this man, Dalvin Cook. I'm on his rushing yards plus receiving yards over 120.5. We're rolling with that game that you had Mixon in. I love the backs in this game, Mixon and Dalvin Cook. Bengals last year were the 4th worst again in rushing yards allowed with 23.68. As well as allowing 61 receptions to running backs last year for 457 yards through the air. 8 games, Dalvin cleared 100 yards rushing alone, and the Vegas line has him at 21.5 carries. So at 21.5 carries, even if we get to 20, he hit that in 8 of 10 when he got 20 carries last year. One of the losses that he had was actually in Chicago. I don't know if you remember that game. That was at the end of the season, snowy game. He played his butt off, and he ended up getting destroyed in that game. Next game, he comes up to him at the end of the season, drops 160 total yards on him, and just goes completely crazy. I see Vikings as a 3-point favorite in this one. I do not know if I agree with that. I'd probably sprinkle Bengals money line because I hate Kirk Cousins so much. But if I like this Bengals team, that's why I kind of lean more towards the rushing and receiving yards versus just strictly rushing, because they will use Dalvin Cook strictly as that screen spot on almost every 3rd down. Like, as a Packer fan, I've watched enough Vikings games to know how much of this offense is going to have to run through Dalvin Cook for them to be effective. For them to win this game, Dalvin Cook's going to have to touch the ball 25 times. He's going to run all over him when he gets the chances. Even if the Bengals get ahead, they don't have that backup back to come in here and take all the receptions from him. He had multiple games last year with over 6 receptions. If we get 6 receptions and 20 carries from this man, he destroys this line. Absolutely destroys this line. And I wouldn't be surprised if he drops 120 just rushing yards this week. I just like having that background option of getting those receiving yards in there as well. But dang, man, I love this spot. 120 is just disrespectful to my man, Dalvin. I'm a Packer fan. I still like this guy. He's a beast, and I'm rolling with him pretty heavy this week.
And also, I mean, if you look at what the Bengals have been doing with defense the last couple of years, I mean, if you even just look at the NFL draft, it's Jamar Chase, it's T. Higgins, it's Joe Burrow. They're not drafting these big guys that are going to fight in the trenches and slow Dalvin Cook down. This is not the Tampa Bay defensive line we're talking about. It's quite the opposite. I think most teams will be able to run on Cincinnati fairly easily. And I think we're going to see that. And like you said, too, even if Cincinnati, for some reason, I don't think this is personally going to happen, but takes a 14-point lead, some running backs, even elite ones like Derrick Henry, will come off the field a little bit more, but Cook is going to be on the field. If they're down, Cook is, well, Jefferson there, it's closer, but he's probably their best offensive player, I would say. And he can do a lot in open space, so just those shovel passes, those screens, just anything to get him involved for if whatever reason they are down. If not, they're just going to run the ball down their throats. And I don't think Cincinnati's going to be able to stop them. I really think this is one of the more, when you go for elite running backs, this is one of the more game script agnostic kind of plays. You don't need to care about the game script. Dalvin Cook is elite. This is a low number. It's as simple as that. It's a great matchup. I love Cook here, and I've seen a lot of smart people on him, you included. So I'll definitely have to get in right behind you and tail this one for sure. I love Cook. It's a great spot.
Last thing I'll say about this. If you're the Vikings, who would you rather have the ball in his hands? Dalvin Cook or Kirk Cousins? I'm telling you, it is Dalvin freaking Cook. It is not Kirk Cousins. This is going to be the Dalvin Cook show, and I can't wait for his coming out party again. Tell everybody he's the best. Even though McCaffrey is back, he's got to show that he's the best in the league right now, and those two are definitely fighting for 1A, 1B, maybe even 1C with Alvin Kamara there as well. But those are the top three, easily a tiers above everybody else, and definitely can see Dalvin Cook getting one of those massive days that he usually has like 4 of them a year, where it's like, oh my God, this guy just dropped 220 yards and he just busts fantasy leagues.
4 touchdowns,
Yeah, just something stupid. I definitely could see this as that type of game for him there. I think that is all of our plays. I'm going to check into some comments and questions here before we pop on over to DFS type of work, and then we'll get to our anytime touchdown scorer parlay or DGen parlay that I like to call it. We'll pop on over. Love the Delvin play. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's a great line. 95.5 rushing. I was looking at that too. Just kind of what I mentioned in there that I kind of like. He mentioned it before I posted it. Do you guys like that?
Yeah, I saw that.
I love it. I love it. Josh in here, Hurts, Ridley, Pitts. Oh, yeah. All 3 of yours there. Good looks there, Josh, for sure.
And Ridley is a good one too. I saw prop bet guy had that one posted early at that 78 number. It's probably high 80s now. He killed that one. That was an awesome play. So, yeah. Yeah,
that Ridley spot was just smash spot. What's up, Jason? Jason's one of my VIPs. Has been with me forever, man. We made a lot of money together over the years. Popping back up here to thanks for the knowledge. Just get that. Oh, yeah, it's our own show. We can say whatever we want. Fucking money. Hell yeah.
Yep.
That's the perks of running it ourselves, right?
Oh, yeah. No one telling us what to say. And also, just real quick, too, there's some Kirk Cousins slander. As a DC fan and a Michigan State fan, too, in the past, Kirk Cousins, if anything, he knows his role. He knows he's not Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins isn't flashy. He knows it. Feed Dalvin Cook the ball. He doesn't have an ego problem. So I just wanted to stick up for him a little bit. He's not the best in the world. I understand that, but he knows his role. He'll hand the ball off without a problem at all,
My only thing I'll say about that is when he knows his role, he needs to learn how to throw the ball away. That man holds the ball forever, and he does not throw the ball away. If I was a Vikings fan, I would probably have punched through my TV screen about 14 times by now. Because that's the one thing I like about Rodgers. And, I mean, it's one thing you hated about Favre is Favre never took the sack, or if he did take a sack, he'd just fall over. But if there was a chance, he would chuck it and most likely throw a pick. But he never held the ball too long. So that was my biggest thing with him. All right. We are on to DFS. We have no more questions yet. Like I said, guys, if you guys have any questions for any plays that you want us to talk about, we'll talk about it after here of our DFS numbers here. But, yeah, make sure you guys drop any questions you have. We'd love to answer them for you over here as well. So we are on to DFS, and we're actually going to start with our value plays here. So we'll be starting with you, Mr. Monotone, over here with your favorite value plays.
Yeah, so Corey Davis and Elijah Moore are 2 guys that I like a lot this weekend. If you follow, YouTube, sorry, I just saw a comment real quick. We'll get to that in a second, Steen or Sean. But essentially, if you follow the preseason at all or anything with the Jets, you know that Corey Davis and Elijah Moore are probably the only 2 guys you've maybe even heard about. So Elijah Moore came out of the draft with so much hype. Like this guy was getting Tyreek Hill comparisons. He absolutely, I think dominated is an understatement in college football. He's
Ole Miss, baby, Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, he had Matt Corral throwing him the ball, right? Wait.
I'm not sure. Their quarterback got hurt. I'm pretty sure SMU's quarterback, or was he SMU or Ole Miss? One of the two. I think it was SMU.
Yeah.
But I think the quarterback got hurt.
Gotcha. But either way, yeah, Zach Wilson is an absolute gunslinger too. We saw this at BYU. He is not afraid to throw the ball. And for anyone that's not familiar with Zach Wilson, or maybe you're a Jets fan and you don't know, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but Zach Wilson is surely going to throw the ball a lot. And I think a lot of people aren't quite ready for that. But these guys are both extremely cheap on DraftKings right now. Corey Davis is 4,900, and that's for the clear and obvious wide receiver 1 on this team. And then Elijah Moore is most likely going to be the wide receiver 2, and he's the bare minimum at 3,000. So when you incorporate these kind of guys into your lineups, you have so much more roster flexibility. And one of the things I want to correlate with is Christian McCaffrey. He's going to destroy this week. There's almost no doubt that he's going to destroy the Jets this week. So when you play a Christian McCaffrey, sometimes you got to make some sacrifices. But when you want to correlate is you want to get 2 guys in the same game, or even multiple guys, obviously, because I'll be playing my main stacks, which is like quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and then an opposing player. But then you also get your mini stacks in those same lineups. You want to get those other correlating players. You want to get as much correlation as possible. In DFS. That has been my strategy, and it's been my most successful strategy. So when I'm playing these Christian McCaffrey lineups, I'm going to have Corey Davis or Elijah Moore in almost all of them. Corey Davis dominated the preseason when he played. He played like a half total in terms of minutes, and he had like 8 catches for 80 yards. Like it was locked in. He had all offseason to prepare prepare with their quarterback, and Moore was injured for a little bit of it. So Moore came into training camp. The beat writers wrote about him every single day. There were articles that were like, I came here to write about something other than Elijah Moore, but he's done it again. They're getting him involved no matter what in this offense. They love his talent. So I think both these guys are going to go off, but I think Corey Davis is a little bit safer if that's what you're shooting for. He had that time to establish that rapport with his quarterback. But if you want to sprinkle on some upside too, then Elijah Moore is right there so he could explode. 4 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown is within his realm of possibilities, especially against a Panthers defense that is very young. So I love both the Jets guys.
Yeah, I always love those games, the double stack there. I love Robbie Anderson this week as well as a run back in that same game. Like I said, that's going to be a game that flies under the radar too, but that's going to be a huge fantasy implication game for sure over there. So actually what I'm going to do here is I have my top value play and my top DFS play. I'm obviously using Stat Hero. That's the one I use the most. That's the one I like the most. I'm actually going to share my screen here with you guys. And I posted this on my actual channel there yesterday. This is actually my 3-unit max. I actually maxed this play over there. It is 2v2, and it's me rolling with my boy Dalvin Cook that I've already hyped up for the past 20 minutes. I have hyped this man as my MVP, getting 1.5 there. I'm getting his spot there, and I'm getting Jalen Hurts at my value, 9,100 over there. That is disrespectful. It's as disrespectful as the 39.5 rushing yard line that we talked about before. And we're going against Kittle, who's probably going to be up after Deebo Samuel runs one to the house, an 80-yard touchdown to the house. They're going to be up, going to have to run the ball. And Josh Allen playing against the Steelers this week is super, super expensive over there. Obviously, well-deserved his high price. But, damn, I don't see how I lose this one. This is a max play because I'm getting Dalvin Cook matchup with George Kittle. If you give me that with a tough matchup for Kittle with game script implications and a close game with a guy better than every single one of the players on Bengals defense, I will hammer this every time. Obviously, I don't need to go into super hard in-depth on Cook. If you want more in-depth analysis on Cook, literally go like 5 minutes back in this video. But, yeah, I love this spot. I love Jalen Hurts at 9,100 over there. I think he does just as well as Allen. I'm probably a couple spots lower maybe. But he's playing Atlanta, and now I got Dalvin Cook versus Kittle, and he's playing Detroit versus the Bengals. I will be smashing this spot 2v2. This is my first ever 2v2, and I probably will be doing more often of this if they're going to give me disrespectful of a line on Dalvin Cook and Jalen Hurts. That's just absolutely mind-boggling.
I mean, I would be running to the window to bet this right now or play it, whatever the terminology is. I mean, this is one of, like, I don't know if ridiculous is a good word, but, like, this is, like, easy. Like, just to give you guys some context with what the sports books are putting out, George Kittle opened up 56. He's down to 50, so it's only been bet under. So he's very conservatively set at 50 yards, and that's what Jalen Hurts' rush yards is going to close at. And that's also where Dalvin Cook, who is his matchup. So it's Dalvin Cook versus Kittle, right? That's essentially
and they both get 1.5 multiplier on their points.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the number earlier for Cook. It was 130, and Kittle's at 50. Like, this is one of the biggest mismatches I've ever seen. Kittle is coming off of a fairly devastating injury last season. They're playing the Lions. Do you really think this is the week that they're going to stretch Kittle out and make him do all this crazy work? Like, this is unfair. So I don't know if you have a link or a code that you want to plug to get all these people to sign up and go play this, but I think I'm going to do it right after this because this is just, it feels unfair, honestly, borderline unfair.
Yeah, let me. I have the stuff here. So if you're going over on Stat Hero, if you use the promo code PPS, all caps, you get to a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. I took my entire deposit bonus because they let me do it on my own and put my own obviously in to get my 50%. I sent it to Ice Picks. I sent it to multiple other people in my VIP that wanted my top play. And I went through every single lineup and tried to play through it. And this one was by far my favorite matchup wise. And I just think that the amount of disrespect to Dalvin Cook pisses me off. He is going to run through this line. I'm so excited. I've only done 4 maxes on bets all year. I'm 3-1 on those. I've never maxed a Stat Hero. I've only done 1-2 unit, and that one cashed pretty easily. But this one, if I bet $100, you have to beat those two. You beat those two, you get $100 back. You just win $100 back. It's like a double up. Then all you have to do is beat one guy.
It's just, I mean, even the one that's supposed to be unfavorable for you with Allen going against Pittsburgh. I mean, I think Hurts could outscore Allen. Hurts has a way softer matchup with Atlanta. Like, I mean, we saw how quarterbacks did against Pittsburgh last year. They make those games ugly, So this is unfair. It's unfair.
All right. Well, I've got all my hype out of the way for those. Let's get to your top play of the weekend for DFS. Take it away.
So we talked about him before in the prop category. If I think he's going to get 16 rushes, that's already a good baseline. Vegas thinks he's going to too. It's juiced up super hard on a lot of sites, That's just the baseline, though. I mean, like I said, the biggest thing for me right here is going to be his passing game responsibilities, which on sites like DraftKings, you're rewarded 1 full point per catch, And with Giovanni Bernard nowhere to be found, he's now with the Tampa Bay Bucks. This third down pass catching role is his. They've made that abundantly clear. He is the pass catching back on this team. They didn't bring in anyone else to help. They have a very minimal amount of depth that will only probably be in the game for pass blocking, special teams, and injury emergency. Mixon's going to be on the field all the time, and Atlanta is just not that great of a defensive team. Even if their front 5, front 4 is adequate, I still think Joe Mixon very easily could get 5 catches for 60 yards. I really think that his receiving game role is something that sets him apart. And beyond that, his touchdown equity is also really good. Last year, we saw Joe Burrow being kind of willing to put his body on the line, take some tough hits, and score some touchdowns. I don't think that play calling is going to be there this early in the season, especially against the Falcons. I think Joe Mixon is going to have a lot of that goal line work. And he, despite the fact that he wasn't that good last year, and a lot of us have a kind of bad memory of Joe Mixon, he still consistently put out a good floor performance every week due to the volume he had. So this is a really safe play at $6,200 compared to some of these McCaffrey guys that are at 95, that kind of super priced up. I think you could finish in that tier really easily. You're getting a $3,000 discount. This also sets you apart from the field because a lot of people are doubling up on those expensive receivers.
For sure.
Sorry, running backs. A lot of people are doubling up on CMC, Cook, Kamara for the obvious reasons. If you drop down to Mixon, suddenly you can get DeAndre Hopkins against a cornerback for the Titans that nobody's ever heard of before. You're getting different from the rest of the field, and you're getting 2 high-scoring players in great matchups. So I love Mixon this week. He will be in 9 out of the 10 DraftKings lineups I play. I'm very confident that Mixon performs. And even if he doesn't hit a ceiling, he still gives you a safe floor and lets other players win you the week, even when he can't win you the week himself.
Yeah, just a guy that gives you a chance to win, right? That's all you really need. Never going to kill you, but definitely has the chance to win it for you, which is all you can ask for in a running back like that. So I'm just going to look through a couple of these. I'm looking through all of the things here. Just going to drop a couple that actually have questions here. Do y'all like Antonio Gibson over 3 receptions? It would depend on the money line or the line for me. If it was plus money, I probably would with no Curtis Samuel now. But yeah, if it's plus money, I definitely would take a little sprinkle. I think that he might be getting a couple of those dump downs. Obviously, Mckissick, I believe, is still there. So that hurts. But, I mean, Fitzpatrick, he's going to chuck that ball. So,
yeah, just this is hard for me. I'm a big Washington fan. And last year, my most profitable player of the year was J.D. Mckissick, actually. Someone that's constantly undervalued by the books, and his role is not going away. So they're going to rotate both of them in. But I personally want to see how they navigate this week 1. Because if you guys didn't know, they cut Peyton Barber as their 3rd string running back, who was the only goal line problem, I guess. He was the only pure runner that would steal carries from Gibson. So it's clear to him that the rushing game is all his. But when you go to receiving, not only is Mckissick there, who had a big role last year, we also now get Patterson, who's a undrafted free agent pass catcher. He's a short, shifty kind of guy that he isn't there to run on 3rd and 1s. He's there to catch a couple of passes. He probably won't play that much, but just so we're kind of clear on the kind of players they brought in and that actually made the roster, it was those pass catching guys. And Antonio Gibson's usage on 3rd downs, despite the fact that he was a receiver in college, is not that good, unfortunately. So I want to see Gibson unlocked, and I think Rivera's playing it smart. I think he's playing it for the long game. I don't think he cares about fantasy owners or betting people. He's going to use Gibson a little bit conservatively in the beginning, but I'm going to wait a little bit for Gibson. If it is plus money, I could very easily see him getting this. But, I would be a little bit careful with this one as a big Antonio Gibson fan myself.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't take it unless it's plus money. That was definitely my first initial look at that was what I would say. Yeah, definitely got to be plus money. Looks like this guy said, I don't play DFS, but if Eckler misses, specifically Donald Parham at my tight end, might as well save yourself some money. Maybe get to the boy, Dalvin Cook, in there if you get that.
As someone who's scored 0 points from the tight end position multiple times, playing guys like Donald Parham, for the Chargers, this guy, he was an XFL monster. If anyone cared about the XFL, he was really good over there. That's why he's a job here. They traded away Hunter Henry. They brought in Jared Cook. So I don't know Parham's usage, but he could break the slate too. That's kind of crazy to say, but if he scores a touchdown on a 40-yard catch, anyone that owns Parham is going to be in contention to win a lot of money. So he's a pretty dominant kind of athletic player. He's not out there to block. He's out there to catch passes. I'm not sure about what his usage would be, but if you're playing a DraftKings lineup, that's kind of perfectly kind of the guy that I love to spend my money on and unfortunately lose more than I win with those kind of guys. But, he's a fun guy. So
yeah, definitely a punt.
But, yeah.
Little punt play. All right. Don't think we have any more questions regarding fantasy or anything in here.
Somebody asked about Fuller under 875 full season. I don't know if you.
Oh, up here a little bit. Okay.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? Oof. I don't know, dude. Tyrod Taylor. Yeah. I mean, it's just
he's Miami now.
Oh, really? Oh, my God. I don't know. Dude, I just can't keep track. With all that Houston crap that's going on, whenever I hear his name, I just assume he's still there, and that stuff was because that Houston stuff.
He's suspended too. He's suspended for the first game of the year for PEDs last year. But yeah, he got switched over to what do you call it? He got sent over to Miami, and unfortunately, Deshaun Watson was a guy that kind of spoiled Will Fuller. Will Fuller is a good player, but Deshaun Watson is one of the elite players of this game. And going down now to Tua, who is someone who I think does improve in his second year and does get a little bit more accurate. I don't think that's gonna be great for Will Fuller's stat line. So I personally lean the under right here. I haven't bet this at all just because I have a lot of season longs that you can read about over on Twitter, but I don't need another at this point, to be honest. But I do lean the under because I do think that Tua's deep ball was graded very poorly on PFF last year from everything I read. It was a big struggle for him, and that's where Fuller strives. So I think he can get kind of close to this, but considering the fact that they've drafted Jalen Waddle in the first round to come in and be Tua's alpha, the guy that he knows from college, the guy that he's played with before.
You get you back on here?
Oh, am I good now?
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't know. That was weird. Okay. It just spun on your side, then spun on my side.
Gotcha. Yeah, just to finish it up real quick, pretty much Tua has the connection with Waddle. They spent that first-round draft capital on him. Parker's still there. Gesicki is still there. Tua loves the tight end. So I'm gonna lean under. I'm not super confident that Fuller has a great year for fantasy. I think he'll be a good real-life piece. I think he makes that team better. But to bet on it or for fantasy, I'm not as high right there. But thanks for the question, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, I would say under 2 just because probably how many of those games of Will Fuller that he had 100 yards did he catch less than 4 passes? Like 90% of them were less than 4 passes and breaks 160-yarder. Tua is spoiled with Devontae Parker catching anything in like a 10-mile radius of that man. That's how Tua even had any yards last year. Every time I watch him, all he wanted to do was dump down to backs and stuff. So Will Fuller does not fit this unless they're going to run some slants and get him more touches and maybe try to get that Deebo Samuel type of slash type of thing. But that deep ball was his bread and butter, and I don't see it really happening here with Tua at all. So that thank you for the comment there. We have a guy talking about Tyrod Taylor over 16.5 rushing yards. Also listing his numbers here. It's tough for me personally to take it. I think that is possible, but I think that's pretty close to where it should be, seeing as where is your deep threat? Why would they not put 9 or 10 in the box on you? Because I really don't. What do they have? Cooks? I think they still have Cooks there, but
he's the only one.
Like, what are you going to use? Akins? Maybe, I don't know. Like, there's not really many deep threat options for me to even be worried about. Like, Will Fuller took the cap off the defense. That's literally what he did. Now you don't have him. Like, what do you – I don't know why you wouldn't put 7 or 8. You got David Johnson there. You got Lindsey there. You got all these dudes there. I just see this as more of a running back type of guy. And now with Watson's uncertainty, I would not assume that they're going to run many plays for Tyrod Taylor to specifically run for. So I would probably say it's a good line. I would probably just not bet it.
Yeah, for me, I mean, this game is just so hard. Like, I had to, for anyone that doesn't know, I write for Vegas Insider and I do game previews, and I had to write up this game preview from the Texans and the Jaguars. And I mean, it's just such a mess. I don't know, for people that don't know the against the spread history, rookie quarterbacks are like 1-13 against the spread when it's their first career start on the first week, So we have the historical data showing that, first round picks, those first round quarterbacks kind of struggle. And then we got Houston, who's probably the worst team in the league, or almost definitely the worst team in the league, many would say. So 16.5 rushing yards is fair. Tyrod is a runner. He is good with his legs, but kind of like what was said before, the playbook isn't really for Tyrod Taylor. Like, I'm worried he's not gonna get enough action. Like, that's just specifically designed for him. So my game plan is just going to sit back and watch. This could be a super easy line that he just destroys, right? This team could be terrible. Tyrod misses what it feels like to be a starting quarterback, and he could just ball out because I like Tyrod Taylor, and I think he could run for 50 yards any given day. But I'm just going to sit back and watch week 1, take notes, see what I hops out to me on the screen, and then really consider it for week 2, depending on how he does. But yeah, I'm out on all of Houston week 1. I'm not betting a single Houston player week 1.
For sure. And definitely we're getting to the end here. We got one last segment for you. If you guys are still with us from this whole one, we're over an hour. I didn't know it was going to go this long. We just have a ton of action week 1. So if you're over on YouTube, smash that like button. If you do, DM me on Twitter. I'll get you guys the rest of my MLB lineup tonight. Just make sure you guys pop in. Make sure if you don't follow my boy Monotone, he's got his Twitter right there. So go hop in on that. We are getting to our last one. So hopefully if you guys are still with us, you drop the like. It means a lot. We're going to be doing this every week. So we want to make sure that we find a way to get you guys paid. Last segment is our Degenerate Parlay, our 2 favorite guys to score a touchdown this week. In a parlay, my favorite and Monotone's favorite comes out to a plus 340 parlay. I'm rolling with my boy James Robinson. I talked about him for a good 10 minutes probably. At least it felt like it on there. Texans give up a lot of touchdowns, give up a lot of yards to their running back position. Trevor Lawrence's first start. Everything adds up to me here. Getting a plus money on this play. If the Jaguars score, I feel like it's really only him or Shenault most likely getting those TDs. I would not be surprised to see this hit right away on that first drive with them feeding him the ball and letting Lawrence get his feet wet a little bit. So I love this spot. I think that James Robinson's plus money against the worst rush defense ever created by mankind is a great spot. Plus 100, I'll take it.
And then, so going to the second leg of that, appreciate the love there, is Lamar Jackson. So if you guys have been under a rock, for what's happened over the last couple of weeks is essentially any running back that has ever signed with the Ravens has been injured. Their depth has been destroyed to the point where they've signed this rotating roster of old and bad running backs, essentially. I like Latavius Murray. I wouldn't put him in that category, but Devonta Freeman, Le'Veon Bell, these guys are not dependable. They're not very good. They haven't shown us any reason why they would be. And so pretty much the angle here is that Lamar Jackson already had 9 touchdowns last season, rushing touchdowns only. And he's a great runner. He's a great red zone runner. And I think he's going to have to take it into his own hands right here. A lot of people are on that rushing attempts in this game for him. I agree with that. He's so shifty. It really could only take one, juke, and he's in from 25 yards out, but also at the goal line. They'll have plenty. They're going to have more plays designed for Lamar Jackson to score a touchdown than any other player in the league. And I would guarantee you that, actually. John Harbaugh, this playbook is for a running quarterback. Every depth piece on this is for Lamar Jackson. This team is built around him. And when it gets to the red zone, I really think it's time for Lamar. Plus 120 feels a little bit ridiculous. The only other guy that I could even think might have one would be Mark Andrews as that dependable tight end guy. I might even sprinkle on that one too. But these Raiders linebackers are terrible. The Raiders defense has not gotten any better since last year, and it was bad last year. Their up front line is pretty weak, and it's a pretty bad defense. I think Lamar will exploit that, and I think it'll be pretty easy for him to get a touchdown right here. I feel like we're getting some great odds for the likelihood of these two guys scoring.
Yeah, and I think I want to know what the stats are. I've been seeing people doing the fade of the commentators on Monday nights. But I want to see what the odds are on superstar scoring, like the top 2 or 3 guys scoring a touchdown for the best odds on Monday night. Because I feel like Monday night's those days that the stars shine the brightest. They know it's their time. I wouldn't be surprised if Lamar does 2 of each. Honestly, I really wouldn't be surprised, especially with no Gus Edwards. They were working with him the entire preseason or the entire offseason, and now you lose him. So who's going to pick up the slack? It's not going to be a guy you just picked up off the damn street. It's going to be the dude that's incorporated into this lineup. That's Lamar Jackson. So I love this spot, dude. This parlay is going to be great. I can't wait to see what our lines are next week. After we come back, we have our 9 plays for you guys, 9 bets. We'll talk about our recap next week, but I'm looking forward to next Friday already because I love every single play we have on this right now. I don't know how you feel about it, but this was a hell of a week 1.
No, yeah, I'm so excited to get these games going. I was fired up watching that game yesterday. I'm a Washington fan. Whenever the Cowboys did anything, I was just happy that football was back. I was just fired up. So I love these spots. Both of us really did put in a lot of time to find these good angles, to find these good lines, to research these stats, and I really think it's going to pay off week 1. I think it'll really be great. Yeah,
what should be our goal? What should be our goal for week 1 on units made here? Or what's our record? Maybe going for like 60, maybe 60 or 70%. I won't be surprised if it goes way higher than that, though.
Yeah, I don't have a target in mind right now, but I like that, and I think hopefully, I don't know how you really track these TD parlays or the DFS success, but I think a lot of these guys we're talking about, even if they just go play your Stat Hero play right now, they're already winning for the week, so I think we're good no matter what. We got a lot of different angles for people here, and I think it's going to be a good week 1.
Hell yeah. I'm excited. We are at 1:15, hour and 15 minutes over here. So we will pop off. I appreciate every single one of you guys staying in here for this whole time, checking us out. All of the plays, if you just popped in here, they're on the bottom on the ticker there. So make sure you pop on there and go plug those in and make some money with us. We're going to be having a good week 1 for sure. Any closing regards there, Monotone?
I mean, just a lot going on, over at Twitter at Monotone Football. That's the best place you can find me. I tweet out my college football work from there. And I also tweet out my Bet Karma articles from there too. So yeah, I'm super happy football's back. I did a full year of NBA. That's really, I think, prepared me. NBA was a sport I never watched before this year, and I did fantastic. And I think that built my confidence to come into football strong, and football is a sport I've watched all my life. So I really am excited, and I think this is going to be a great show. I think we're going to get people a lot of winners. So I appreciate you guys tuning in.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ryan, for that comment there. Appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of time goes into it, but hopefully it pays off and pays off on your guys' bankroll. So thank you guys so much. We're going to have to come up with a name shortly, but thank you guys for tuning in with us on week 1. Appreciate everybody popping in here. We'll have a good one. Have a good week 1, and we'll talk about how we do next week, Friday at 2 Central, 3 Eastern. Thank you, guys.
Catch you later.